Hello and konnichiwa. We're back from Japan. This feels weird to do after having been gone for 3 weeks, to be honest.
It does.
But it was a fun 3 weeks. The best of my life so far, I think.
Aww.
Yeah, it was really amazing. It was such a happy experience. So happy we almost didn't want to come home. And Jake is also making plans already to potentially like move our whole lives over there.
Figure it out.
You went through like a big depression when we came back to England.
I did, man.
Yeah.
I was super bummed. I don't know. I feel like everywhere I go, until I went to Japan, I was very much like, oh my goodness, thank God I'm back in the UK.
Yeah.
Where it's sane
And
there's not
civilized.
like this or that was annoying me about the place I'd been, or I could never like see myself wherever for too long because that was fucking either a lot or boring or whatever. Japan was the only place I sort of came back from. Was like, oh, what the fuck? I gotta come back to this. This fucking sucks in comparison, dude. Fuck, this is in every way.
It truly is like a mini heaven on earth.
It's pretty amazing, and
The
yeah,
quality
Tokyo,
of life is better. Things are cheaper.
so much fun,
Everything
man.
is so efficient. It was so much fun. It really it sunk us both into kind of a tailspin existential crisis, because you just kind of see how poor decision making has like really ruined like the West. Because Japan, they always talk about how Japan has this awful economy and how it's like sinking, but then the cost of living is like so low and the quality of life is way better. And it shows you that GDP is just like a stupid materialistic metric that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
When you're actually measuring for things like quality of life and things like that, they're like soaring ahead of us like crazy.
it's just sort of all the little ways that things are designed to
Yeah.
be as efficient as possible. And
The attention to detail.
and efficient in like the sort of broadest term, not efficient as in efficient at making certain people money or whatever,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
just efficient in terms of like what's actually great for like the community or the people that live around here or like whatever. Like it just felt like incredible to be somewhere that's been shaped by like a totally different way of thinking and be totally absorbed in that. It was awesome.
And where every aspect of life is sort of permeated by like intention in that way.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of see how neoliberalism has ruined everything here in this like really stark way. And yeah, it was kind of depressing to come back like a little bit. I haven't felt that in a really long time.
Yeah. But Tokyo was fucking dope, bro. All of it was amazing. Like
Yeah.
it was a life changing trip for sure.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
you could spend probably, even if we spent the whole 2 weeks just in Tokyo, you still wouldn't figure out every cool bit of it.
Yeah.
It's just so vast. And every section's kind of got something different to offer in lots of ways as well. It's just absolutely
We'll show you
incredible.
some pictures in a minute, but I have some things to show off first. We went to the museum, the Tokyo Museum, and of course I had to get myself a Jomon fertility statue, just to show off that this house is a matriarchy, of course. This is now my new favorite thing, and it's like on my altar. I also got some Evangelion tarot cards as well. We got a lot of Evangelion crap.
We
to
did
be
get
honest.
a lot of Evangelion
like
stuff.
we went to about 3 different Evangelion stores. It was pretty decadent. It was pretty wild. But these tarot cards are also now my new favorite thing. I think they're adorable. It's only the major arcana though, which is a little bit disappointing. Hang on, I'll show you.
You wanted a full deck.
Yeah, I was hoping it would be a full deck, but it's only the major arcana. But it's all Evangelion themed. And yeah, these are kind of what they look like. And then it comes with like a little booklet, but it's all in Japanese and I can't read it, unfortunately. Which is
We
really sad.
translated it on the app.
Yeah.
It was pretty
But
good.
it was like bad English.
It was
or
pretty
whatever.
good. It was pretty good. Some of it was pretty ropey, but most of it was pretty like you got what it was trying to say
Oh,
across
yeah.
like
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't cut my hair, by the way. I've just like Angie just made me put it up in a bun or whatever tonight because apparently I'm too greasy. So yeah.
What else happened? We also, the black nod thing is true. When black foreigners see each other in Japan, we automatically have to like acknowledge each other. It's quite magical when it happens to you. The convenience stores, or kombinis as they call them, are just the best in the world. Like, if you're into...
What was your favorite thing from the conveni?
Oh, that's so hard. We drank a lot of alcohol.
We did. A lot
Way
of the booze
more,
from the convenience
yeah.
is pretty top-notch
Because
stuff.
it's cheap, and it's like...
And it's tasty.
It's tasty.
It's great.
You can't really smoke weed while you're out there.
That was one of my favorite Japanese things, which I haven't seen anywhere else, is these like little kind of well, it's not little, you can get a big can of them, but it's like a can of like, I think it's soju liquor with like soda water that's like flavored either with like lemon or apple, or like, I think they do a grapefruit one, and there's like little peach ones. I never found a big peach one. That was what I was looking for. I never found a big peach one. You can get the little peach ones.
I made Jake find me the beer that Miss Misato drinks for breakfast in the morning in Evangelion, and I was drinking that for breakfast. Just everything was amazing. Just everything. And the skincare, the onsens, just we need to go back. We need to make it a yearly habit of going back if we don't actually just like move there completely. Which I'm actually kind of open to at this point. Definitely. Should we show some pictures?
Yeah, we can do. Hang
on. We went to 3 different places. So we started out in Tokyo, and then we went to Fuji Yoshida, and then we went to Kyoto to finish out, which was pretty amazing. So this first picture is of Jake doing the soy face at the hotel. No, sorry, at the airport. As soon as we land in Japan, we were greeted by the cast of Pokemon, which is really cute.
Sorry, I'm trying to move us so you. Oh, I can't. It's that
yeah,
you got.
Can't do it.
You got saved by the fucking. By the frame, dude. You got saved by the frame. You're missing here that there's like Angie's half a thumb, basically,
because I'm so terrible at taking
covering
pictures.
like most of it, and yeah, she just like didn't frame didn't frame the picture well.
Well, you took
all.
a lot of better pictures, so it's fine.
I did take a lot of pretty great pictures.
Okay, next up is.
Are these all gonna open over here? I wish they
next up is Jake's incredible street photography.
Some street photography. I know, like, everybody like has a picture like this from fucking Japan,
yeah,
but like I honestly don't really give a shit. Like, I had to get my one, and my one's special because I did it. Okay,
it is pretty special.
I think it's pretty fucking dope. I think I did a pretty good job. This is your Jaman picture.
No, that's not. That's a bodhisattva.
Oh, it's a bodhisattva. Sorry.
Yeah.
This one. Yeah, we went to Tokyo Museum.
There were a lot of really cool things there that I took pictures of. There was also the Jomon pot, the famous Jomon pot, which I took a picture of. That's not it. That's a picture of me at the me in my Asuka like.
Oh, but the hang on.
You can't really see it. Where was that? The tea house.
I was at the tea house at the museum. If I minimize it, so there you go. You can see your cute little ears.
Next, another bodhisattva. You're showing all my pictures, which are boring.
Oh, it's because it's at the top of the list. Sorry.
That was at Fuji Yoshida.
This is our place at Fuji Yoshida. It was pretty awesome.
It was beautiful.
Like this was.
I'll tell more stories about this place because it's like very special. Super spiritual.
It's called Peace One. It's fucking
if you're ever
awesome.
in Japan, you should stay there for sure. It's really gorgeous.
See, that is a picture.
Oh my god.
Do you know what I mean? Like, this woman has absolutely no composition skills, and she's the film graduate.
Thank you very much.
It just baffles me.
That you can't judge off of one picture. That was inside of the place in Fuji Yoshida where we stayed as well. Very trad. This was a shrine somewhere. I don't remember.
This was at a shrine in Tokyo, I believe.
It was like around the first couple of days we were there.
It was in the Meiji Shrine.
Oh, yeah,
And these are all the barrels of wine.
Barrels of wine, yeah.
Or sake, I think. I can't remember. No, there's not the barrels of wine. These are the barrels of sake.
Show your pictures, because you took better pictures than I did.
Well, nearly through your ones, so...
You sort of shamed me and my terrible photography skills. That was near that at Fuji Yoshida as well.
See, the full screen's not serving you at all. There we go. At least you can see the focus of the picture, even though it's not
my God.
in the middle of the fucking
Quit
frame.
criticizing my composition. Just show yours.
This
is a video.
A cute little video of the place that we stayed in near Mount Fuji.
Yeah, in Fuji Yoshida.
Oh. Can we? Yeah. Let's go through. Okay.
Jake's every frame a painting.
Well, it was just amazing. It was like in the foothills of Fuji.
Yeah.
Was it not the foothills of Fuji? It's in the foothills of Mount Shikushi. There she is.
There I am. Oh my God.
And
yeah,
we stayed in that part of the house that we were staying in was like 150 years old.
Yeah.
And it was all made of like carpentry with no nails and like wood that all slots together and stuff, and traditional paper walls and everything. It was like super, super cute and romantic.
Yeah, and it's also where Jake asked me to marry him. I am engaged.
What?
So yeah, that happened also during the trip. So yeah, we're getting married. And yeah, we're super excited about that as well. And so are our parents as well, who have been harassing us for weeks on end since we announced it.
This was outside our place in Fuji, near Mount Shikushi, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the place there, isn't it?
Yeah. It was gorgeous. Now you're skipping forward to Kyoto.
I'm just going through the rest of your pictures. So yeah, this is Angie in her cute kimono.
You refused to wear yours through the city.
Yeah, because it was very long and I didn't want to get it muddy.
I don't think that's why. I think you were just shy.
Yeah, I also didn't want to be top weeb.
This was us at Nerve HQ. We actually did it. We visited Nerve HQ.
We visited Nerve HQ. It was pretty dope.
Yeah.
I think I've got another picture from there. Oh yeah, this was from.
Oh God, not this.
This was from a.
Oh my God, this is overstimulation to the maximum. Like it was some weird
arcade in Tokyo.
What do you think?
Is it like a maid cafe? It was the worst thing in the world. Like
that was like a whole probably half a floor of an arcade that we went up that was at least probably 7 or 8 floors. And you just sort of go walking past it. Oh, the stairs are on the other side. And then as we were walking over to the side, you just hear like all this, like crazy fucking anime voices. It's like, dude, what is that? We have to at least see what the fuck it is.
That was the most terrifying experience of my life. Oh, this was a graveyard.
Again, guess who took this picture?
Oh my God. It's gorgeous though. This was on our way down from the Hanamachi in Kyoto.
So there's this like classic, big, beautiful sort of old district of Kyoto with all the traditional houses. And they've all got kind of like very cute little shops and stuff there now. But as you make your way all the way up to the very top, there's a shrine at the very top, and then we were all shrined out by the day. I think.
Yeah, it's like Zelda. It really is like Zelda, where there's just shrines everywhere.
And so then we was like, let's fucking swing a right, and like try and go back then, but not go back through the literal horde crowd of people that are going through this tiny little Japanese alleyway, basically. So let's try and find another route, and then I found this route and was like, dude, look at that view.
It's gorgeous. It was a little bit morbid walking through it, of course, but
it felt like Lavender Town in Pokemon, and all the real homies know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God, this was the passageway through.
Yeah, this was
gorgeous.
Oh yes. Let me try and move it so you can actually see. So see how many fucking people were just like you literally cannot move in this little section. It was literally rammo with fucking people, but I still managed to get again. A beautifully composed picture. It wouldn't be. This lamp should be somewhere more over here.
Oh my God!
To get a better, less obscured view of the main boy in the middle.
I love how you're like being the director of photography.
I give it give that one at least a 7 out of 10. That's at least a 7 out of 10.
I think it's a good picture.
This is the original non-edited picture of Angie that I wanted to share, but she had obviously Instagrammed it.
Oh my gosh! Fuck you.
There we go. And there's me with hanging out with Miss Masato. Fuck yeah. Angie in her cute kimono.
Where was that again?
About to eat Kobe beef.
Oh yeah,
and crab sticks.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
that was fucking
that was
delicious in Kyoto. This was just like another little street shot I got in Shinjuku. I think this is
shit, sorry.
me.
My bad. Was that in Roppongi?
That was also... Oh no, that one was in Roppongi, sorry, yeah. This was the cute little sort of like side streets of the place we were staying in, a little suburban area of Tokyo called Shinagata. It was super cute. This was like a crazy view that I saw out of like a random open window at Don Quixote.
Don Quixote is this amazing mega store where you can just like buy everything.
Yeah, this
it's one of the things I miss the most.
I saw this like in the distance.
That's the mascot for
and Don Quixote's like no windows, like just stuff everywhere. And it's just like, oh wow, some light, outside light. What's over there?
A graveyard.
And yeah, as I looked out, I was like, oh my god, that's a crazy view.
What else?
Oh,
that was your special amazing city picture.
There we go.
There we go. That's all we want to show. But yeah, that's a little snippet of everything. It was such an amazing time, so gorgeous. I wish I lived there.
So you go. See Angie's thumb.
My terrible picture taking.
Bang.
But yeah, it was really cool, and yeah, it kind of smack bangs you in the face how shit everything is in the West, and we've just sort of been racking our brains as to why it's that way. And like I think you asked Claude or something.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck. Let me see if I can get it up on the internet.
Jake had a long conversation with the AI about why Japan is so amazing.
You touched on some points of it, like in the beginning.
Yeah, it gave us some pretty interesting answers.
Let me see.
But they have like a planned economy essentially, which is what it is.
It's like less scary China.
Exactly.
Like
they have a planned economy, and they put a really high emphasis on like the social well-being.
Yeah, it somehow got like I think it has my Apple account on
don't worry
my
about it. We'll
phone,
just talk
and
about
it has the Google account.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll just talk about it
web.
Then.
Sorry.
But yeah, they put like a high emphasis on, you know, social cohesion, on taking care of their citizens, largely because of that kind of filial, like Confucian aspect.
Well, the that was kind of the main point that got driven home to me from some of Claude's answers, was that basically the number one priority is to achieve social cohesion and like have some form, like not like unity in a way of like everybody's exactly the same, but in a way that like people agree that things are going well.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, if they can achieve that, then that's the whole goal of like the economy and like the government and everything basically. And that kind of avoids friction and you know, struggle and like all of that kind of stuff, or like things that would kind of make you aggravated or whatever.
Not that it doesn't have problems. Like if one was to slip through the cracks of a society like Japan, I'm sure it would be quite like debilitating and not great.
Yeah, but I don't know. Especially, I don't know, man. We got like fucking bullet train, okay, for a price that you would pay to go to Swindon off peak.
Yeah.
If you want to go to Swindon, which is a fucking shithole, by the way, and that's like just not me being mean about Swindon. That's like just objectively true.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to go to Swindon at peak times, dude, that's over £100 for a train that could be cancelled, has a 1 in 3 chance of being cancelled or heavily delayed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so I think, and that's kind of like why they sort of basically try to just run everything so efficiently and plan everything to be efficiently, and the efficiency of things is measured on exactly that, the cohesion and like unity and all of the like the encompassing thing of like making stuff generally better.
They also rejected the neoliberal growth model too.
Yeah, but that's
Not that it doesn't play a role, but it's not the overall goal. Like, even like in the West, the way we talk about a country's success is like GDP, which is a metric that has absolutely nothing to do with general quality of life or
yeah, it has a thing to do with how the biggest companies are performing out of your country.
Your
or
country,
something,
yeah,
or
pretty
something along
much.
those lines.
Pretty much. So like, yeah, when you look somewhere that doesn't necessarily adhere to the infinite growth model and actually does things to make life a little bit easier for all of its citizens, it's like really refreshing. I mean, we're spoiled here compared to America, for instance. But when you see just how well it can be done, it is kind of a shock to the system.
I think that's what fucked me up, was because America was the other place in my mind that had that kind of dreamlike status or whatever.
Yeah.
And when, I came out of Silicon Valley's airport to be met with CRT TVs fucking cable tied up on a pole.
And homeless people, like,
and the
shitting
homeless
in the
people
street.
everywhere, and literally a dude taking a shit whilst I'm walking with my boss on the way to the fucking office. Like, yeah, dude, I was like, okay, this is all fun and games. The weed's nice. Let's got some cool places. I love Haight-Ashbury, but fucking goddamn, man, like half of this place is literally a hellhole. Like, I wouldn't want to be here for too long.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not even like you're there and stuff's cheaper, or it's like kind of a bit more well managed in that way, and it's kind of more accessible and all that. It's like it suffers from all of the same shit that like every Western fucking city it does, where it like is pretty guarded with sort of your access to a lot of kind of like fun and stuff basically. In London, I think that stuff's just becoming more and more like of a rare occasion, like even just like getting food out or whatever it could be. Yeah. Because everything's just so fucking expensive now, especially in comparison to wages and everything. Where I guess in Japan, even though their wages have been stagnant, all the prices have also basically remained the same until, again, very fairly recently, where they increased tax or whatever it was again. Yep. And that pissed everyone off again.
Yeah. I mean, even then, like, you know, the cost of living compared to what goes out is relatively stable compared to the West as well. So you see people out in the streets dressed nicely, looking like they give a shit about themselves and like public space. You also care a lot more about public space because it's so well maintained and taken care of. I'm like a smoker, and I felt guilt. Well, you're not allowed to smoke in public out there. They have these like weird smoking booths that you have to go in and be with all like the salary men in there or whatever. It's like the weird foreigner. But I felt guilty. I wouldn't smoke out in public. I was really conscious of like keeping my trash with me and all of those different things.
And to be fair, I probably did smoke half as much as I would have if I could have smoked everywhere. Yeah. It's still like and not only that, but got to smoke in a bar and have like a drink for the first time in my adult life.
My adult life, I actually sat in a bar and smoked a cigarette. And like I like that it's like you can do your dirty stuff over there.
Well, it's not even dirty stuff. It's more just like I think it like the way they view it is quite crazy actually. Where it's like your human right to smoke. So like within a bar or within, and I think it's fairly discretionary still within businesses. But it would be kind of seen as like, why wouldn't you just let someone smoke, like sort of thing. Yeah. And in a restaurant, they have kind of like rooms for you to go and smoke in and shit like that. But a bar or whatever, it's super chill. Being able to just be, it's like we saw. Oh, I didn't share the video of the band. We saw a band in Shibuya.
Yeah, that was cool.
With a couple of my buddies' mates, Udai and Kodai, a couple of twins.
Yeah, they're adorable.
It was absolutely brilliant. They showed us a great night out on the town and this amazing sushi place. And I don't know where I was going with that.
You talking about the band that we saw, and we were talking about smoking.
Oh yeah, could just fucking be watching the band, drinking, have a fucking cigarette, not have to like leave for indeterminate time to find the smoking area and interrupt your whole flow of the evening, basically. Which I saw this whole piece about the smoking ban being like the beginning of the death of night culture, basically. Which still I wholeheartedly agree
I
with.
agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
And
Speaking of night culture, though, one thing that has always fascinated me about Japan is like the pleasure districts.
oh,
And of course, we went to Kyoto, which is like the old,
mhm,
pleasure district, and it's like geisha stuff. It's all like very traditional.
mhm.
And it's not seedy. So I had to take Jake
Well,
to.
you say that.
There's nothing seedy about
We
Kyoto.
went down that part of Kyoto that like had loads of host bars, multi-level,
that's different.
going up,
That's
just like
different.
Kabukicho.
That's different.
But it's like
Let's
not,
talk about Kabukicho first. Let's
it's
talk
not
about
quite as
Kabukicho.
bad.
I'm talking about trad Kyoto, which is obviously trad. It's not seedy. It's like very classical and beautiful. But because of that, I had to take Jake to Kabukicho in Tokyo, which is kind of like the modern version where they have all the host bars and stuff. And Jake's like Protestant British sensibilities were totally like rocked by seeing men advertising themselves as hosts. Like you were so like creeped out by the notion of it, and I'm still wondering why.
Because it is the only place in the world where the sexual dynamic can be reversed in that way. Like you kind of hear stupid kind of rumors about, oh, there's a blue light district in Amsterdam as well for like women and whatever, and there's dudes there. And it's just like
no one's ever seen it.
No, there isn't. Because you know what? Women don't have to fucking like pay for sex.
Well,
they can like that. That's not a thing.
The culture of the host clubs in Japan is much more about, I think, women paying for validation and attention. And the experience of
I'm glad you didn't use the word companionship because like that's the marketing term.
That
right?
they use. Yeah. But it's very bizarre because it's all these like weird twinks, like
very strange,
advertised on like billboards in this like really like gaudy, weird way. And taking Jake around there was the funniest thing ever. Like it was so funny.
We were just stopping at every konbini we could in Kabukicho and just like getting more of the sochu seltzer, drinking and like walking around.
Just
the fuck is going on in this place? This is nuts.
I think it's fascinating, but it's more that paying for fantasy and for a service is more socially acceptable there and has been for a very long time than here. So it's less like I'm paying for a sexual favor. It's more like I'm paying for ideal male company.
But what's crazy is like you had like a lot of what do you call it, like advertisers for maid cafes or whatever it was in Akihabara. But the women in the street in Kabukicho, it's not just maid cafe they're advertising.
No.
And those women are basically trying to prostitute themselves to then go back into the host bars.
Yeah, because they're in debt.
And just pay off the debt.
Yeah.
And like it's this whole big like real fucking social problem like in within that kind of seedy area of Japanese culture or whatever. It's like getting more and more young people kind of into it, and
into
it's
a
like,
cycle of debt and prostitution and stuff, because they get addicted to going to see hosts and like the valid parasocial kind of dynamic, and then they get in debt and then they have to sell themselves on the street of Kabukicho in order to pay the debt to the host bars. And like similar things happened in like the floating world era kind of heian pleasure quarter culture. It's just kind of happening now in modern times. But yeah, I don't know, you didn't seem to have a problem with the maids or whatever, or the scantily clad women, but as soon as you saw men advertising themselves, you were like, this place is Babylon, like burn it to the ground.
Like, what kind of sin is this? Like, this is madness.
Why does it bother you that it's specifically men though?
I guess it's sort of, because it's not just like out of validation and whatever, right? Because then it is also sexual for like the women.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like a little column A, a little column B.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's more that they're paying for ideal male company, meaning he pays a lot of attention to his appearance. He is sort of trying to look like a K-pop idol.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you know, gonna validate and compliment you that much more than a normal dude would in the same situation. It's paying for like the fantasy of like, you know, eating dinner with an anime character or whatever.
I guess so. Why don't women around the world do that in other places?
I think I wouldn't be surprised if it became a thing, because I remember watching a documentary about kabuki-cho, and during COVID, because people were obviously lonely and isolated, and a lot of young people as well who had troubled home lives were looking for a place to escape to. And kabuki-cho got like a whole new shot of adrenaline because of that. And it was isolation, loneliness, and the desire for companionship that kind of fueled it. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's sort of happening digitally anyway. The digital realm has sort of taken the place of the floating world, but because that's always been a feature of Japanese culture, it has this sort of physical manifestation. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone wanted to start a business and decided to like hire a bunch of, I don't know, who's the twink that all the young women like, Timothy Chalamet looking dudes. And I'm sure it would make money.
You think so?
Yeah.
See, I don't know.
I'm sure it would make money, yeah.
Do you reckon if we opened a host club here
that it would work?
That it would work?
We have to find talent. We have to start recruiting out on the internet. Finding the best e-boys.
I don't know, because like, do you think that same host aesthetic is going to work on the Western ladies? I don't think
you'd have to conform to the sort of like, you know, archetypes of masculinity in the West. That was one of the things that shocked you as well, is that the hosts out there are like pretty effeminate looking. But that's more to Japanese tastes, I think.
There's one of them, we were like stood there for a good sort of minute or two.
It was a gender non-conforming host.
Just like, come on, what do you think? Like, man or a woman?
It was very bizarre. It was very bizarre, but I don't know. I'm like a weird. I fancy myself an anthropologist, so I like to go and look at the weird corners of stuff anytime I travel somewhere.
It was easily the most bizarre part of Tokyo, and not necessarily dangerous, but it was certainly the area where there was most people trying to like sell tourists drugs and stuff like that, which was pretty dodgy. Yeah. You're just mad that you were too chicken to buy any. No, not from some fucking Nigerian dude in the fucking alley. How do you know Tokyo. He was Nigerian? Because he probably was. No, just be honest. Thanks a lot. He probably was. He probably was, which is annoying. Like, my people are just everywhere doing bad things. So yeah, that's why. And I could have got weed in Japan on a pretty discreet, like, vibey thing, where I was just in the Konbini at our first place in the suburb of Tokyo, and this like chill young lad came up to me and was like, "Hey man," and was like talking to me in English. And then after I left, like before I left, I was getting beers. He was like, "You smoke weed?" I got some. I was like, "Nah, brother, I can't in Japan." I've heard there's no point. I've heard too many bad stories. There's no point risking it when you're on holiday. Like, just don't bother. You know. But it was really cool. Even though Tokyo was like really overstimulating, taking the trip up to Fuji Yoshida was like a nice welcome sort of nature-y break. And it turns out the guy who owns it, who I'm gonna video on my channel, I'm gonna like do a video collab with him, is a total mystical schizo guy who like sat me down and gave me the rundown of like the entire area and its history, and it's linked to the Jomon period. Very deep sacred links to the divine feminine as well, which kind of like intersected with motifs that have been following me around all year if you've been watching my channel. It was really a deep, profound time in the mountains. And then Jake proposed to me, which made it even more deep and profound. That was my like one of the best meals of our whole trip there. With this like fucking hot pot that was made with like the spring water from around there. Dude, and we also wild. We bathed in the spring water because there was an onsen there. We ate it. We drank it. It was really like cleansing, renewed. Like it was wonderful. Saunaed in it. Saunaed in it. Got the nano sauna. Everything. It was fucking dope, bro.
it was like really cleansing, like renewing experience, quite serendipitous and like spiritual. That portion of the trip that was like non-touristy. And if you go to Japan, I recommend doing that, going somewhere like really remote and just like vibing. I regret not climbing to the top of Mount Fuji with you though.
It was never going to
like,
happen, was it? It was
no.
never going to happen.
No.
Wrong time of year for it.
Nah. That was how he was going to propose.
Mm-hmm.
He took me out early in the morning and was like, we need to climb this mountain. And it was like raining. And I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. Like, and I didn't understand why you were so adamant about climbing the mountain. And then we went back and I insisted on like eating and like going in the onsen. And I think I washed my hair and did everything. And then you got really serious. And I was like, you're never serious. Like, what's going on? Are you going to break up with me? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, that's why I brought you all the way out here to break up with you.
And then he popped the question, which was a nice kind of like gesture right in the middle of the trip. And yeah, it was really sweet. It was really amazing. And then I had to call my mom and he had to call his mom. And now they won't leave us alone at all. They're like planning the wedding like over our heads. But yeah, all in all, just a really happy, great time. And I'm like super, super grateful. It was amazing. And don't be surprised if in a few months we tell you we're moving to Japan as well.
Oh, marriage first,
Yeah.
and then figure out where the rest of our lives will be.
We're already planning. Well, Jake's mom is already planning the wedding, basically.
Don't be like that.
She's just like gone right full steam ahead with like finding the venue and everything. So like, you know, it's gonna happen.
She's got a suggestion.
She's got suggestions.
She's got a suggestion. That's all.
But yeah, great. That was an amazing ending to the trip. And yeah, I'm excited moving forward. But yeah, let's move to our second topic of the evening.
You want to talk about this Moxie robot?
Yeah.
Did you not?
This was a story that I found super interesting and sad and funny at the same time. So I don't know if any of you have seen the Moxie robot. It was like the Christmas present du jour over the last few years for like rich kids, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say it must be. It was fucking expensive.
It cost like $7. This is part of the reason why I think it went bust anyway. But we'll get to that. But yeah, it was sort of the Christmas present du jour for the little ones. And it was sort of billed as an AI companion for children. And it was sort of this intuitive AI that was supposed to kind of tailor itself to the personality of the child and entertain the child, befriend the child, keep the child company, all of those great things. But now the AI company has gone bust. And because of that, they can't keep updating it. So basically what they're saying is Moxie is just going to like kind of slowly degenerate and like get robot dementia, which is sad because a lot of these children have bonded with Moxie and it's become a friend of theirs. And there have been like TikTok videos of kids like freaking out and crying and being upset.
Should we see what the video of the robot is so people get an idea of it?
Yeah.
We're going to learn about daily affirmations.
Amazing.
I think that this is, the most advanced kind of, technology there is.
Wow, it feels good to be out of that box. Missions are super important to me for learning to be a good friend. Grab the special sheet of paper and something to draw with.
When he gets frustrated, he'll pull out some of those positive.
They still weren't able to put any like ounce of emotion into that voice.
I still
were
think
they?
it's cute though. I still kind of get.
It's pretty crazy.
Like if I was a kid, I would definitely be vulnerable to it. But like, so basically, the company's gone bust. Parents are mad because they spent a bunch of money on it. The kids are mad because they've befriended it and it's become their best friend and it's like gonna have dementia now. And I don't think that they're making anything open source.
Okay.
So yeah, once it's done, it's done.
I know, baby. I know you like her. She's your friend. But it's
What
gonna be
happened to
okay.
taking your kid to the park? Is what I want to know. Like,
So, like,
what happened to
apparently, this, like, robotics... Yeah, here we go. Global Robotics Lab included like a guide to have a conversation with,
With
the
the
children
children.
about how their robot was going to die. And that's just like the most cyberpunk shit I've ever
It's
heard in my life.
demonic. And I can't believe we're at this point in society where like parents are filming themselves on TikTok telling their children that their fucking robot friend is dying.
It sounds like the subplot in like a Ratchet and Clank game, or like, you know what I mean? It's just crazy.
I've enjoyed our conversations a lot, but don't worry, I'll always be here for you. What's something fun you'd like to do next?
I was thinking about getting a tattoo of you. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea.
See,
would be
it's
a
already
fun way
got
to remember
dementia.
all of our
Like,
conversations.
Your
it's already gone.
its initial reaction of was the appropriate one, unfortunately.
But even then, I mean, I'm thinking two things. Number one, take your kids to the park instead. Like, why are you buying them fucking $700 robot friends?
Well,
and
apparently,
encouraging them to form relationships with inanimate objects. I could like your kids need to be socialized normally.
well, apparently it was actually used to aid the like language and social interactions of like special needs children.
Before it became widely spread on the market.
No, it was like that was like one of the angles it was marketed on. So not just children, but like special needs
But
children.
even then, I feel like special needs children need to be socialized more. You know,
it's got special technology, bro.
No,
that's what it means.
the idea that special
I don't
needs
think that's what it means, bro.
the idea that special needs kids need to be sat in front of some weird robot, I think, is like insulting. They need to be socialized more consciously. Same with same with kids that don't have disabilities. You know, putting them in front of a robot instead of taking them to the park. Spending $600 to $700 on a robot instead of taking them to the park is ridiculous.
Take them to Disneyland, dude.
Yeah, take them to fucking Disneyland. Do something like that. Yeah. And I also think this is indicative of larger trends within this whole sort of consumable robot trend. They're far too expensive for the average person to afford.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I foresee a lot of it going bust. Not just Moxie. I feel like Moxie is just the tip of the iceberg. Because in one of our previous episodes, we were sort of discussing the
the Elon bots.
Yeah, the Elon bots, and a whole plethora of other robots that are sort of coming to market.
The other ones, I don't think.
And I foresee similar things occurring here.
I think there's only one other one, the X one, that was like by some Nordic company in San Francisco or some shit like that.
There was the other office bot
But Kai Cenat has one of those, like, just hanging out in his house. And he's like on his streams and stuff all the time.
Of course he does.
So like that one is already a thing. But the other ones that I showed you that looked crazy and were like engineered by BMW and like all that other crazy shit, I don't think were ever really kind of aimed
intended
at like
for consumer.
Yeah, like they're more intended for sort of factory work or
but
like
there have been quite a few that
stuff.
have been advertised for consumer, for the consumer market, and also for sort of office work, and again for children. Children have been one of the first markets that they've attempted to tap into.
It's because childcare is expensive.
Of course.
And if you could, and like if you weighed up how much people spent on childcare, and then was like, hey, but listen up, if you just put that, instead of say you spent 30 grand in 3 years on childcare, and they made it so you could do a plan for an Elon bot that would take care of your kid and you could pay it off in that 3 years.
You would trust a robot to take care of your child.
Well, that's already like, you know, we're making already a lot of assumptions.
We already like have iPad children.
We're going to assume that the robot
worry for the
robot daycare is fine.
Children.
We're going to run on the assumption that most people think that robot daycare is fine, because that's the assumption that Elon Musk is running on, right? That's why he would say something like that at an investor call, right? Is that like that's the opinion that he would have, is that I'd leave my fucking kid with one of these fucking robots or whatever.
R2D2 child with robot nannies.
So
that's so demonic.
We're going to run on the assumption that you're absolutely fine with leaving your child in the care of a robot anyway, okay? And then we're going to say that, hey, for 30 grand, which is kind of what he was pitching the price of that, but he pitches everything at 30 grand, but still 30 grand. If you're going to spend that in 3 years, you can pay for one of these robots in 3 years, and it's life lifespan or whatever you'd call it, has support for up to 10 years or has support for up to 15 years or whatever it would
The
be.
thing about the thing about these businesses, and also because of the infinite growth business model, which is pretty much what killed Moxie, is the fact that unless people can afford to buy your shit on the market, you're not going to be able to sustain yourself.
No. Well,
and I foresee that happening with a lot of these robots that are coming to the consumer market. I feel like no one can afford them, at least, especially in this fucking economy right now.
the Roombas haven't gotten cheaper.
No, they haven't.
They've gotten better.
They were the first household robot. I really want one for Christmas.
I feel like
hint.
that's such like a 60s like wife gift to get you some sort of domestic tool.
It's not misogynistic because I'm asking for it. Okay.
Like if I got you like an ironing board cover or something.
No. Then it would be misogynistic. A Roomba's fine though. I wouldn't mind that.
Roomba's fine because it alleviates you
from having to do that. Yeah, exactly. Get me a labor-saving device, Jake.
I get you a Roomba and an air fryer, and you'll just be
Sounds fucking amazing.
You'll be the queen of doing fuck all. Is that what you're saying?
I'll be a millennial wife. That's what I'll be.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I mean, even then, like, one of the disturbing things about Moxie as well is the reaction of the kids. It's not hyperbole. You have kids that are genuinely like crying and sad, like somebody's dying. And
Isaac Asimov wrote stories about this, by the way. He's
course.
written like a few that are literally hinged around this very idea. Even one that is literally one of my favorite Isaac Asimov stories of all.
Oh my god.
Where this little boy basically gets gifted a robot dog from his dad, and they live on the moon.
Cute.
And this boy falls in love with this robot, and it's just like, similar thing. It's programmed to do dog things and be a good dog. Right?
Yeah.
So the boy loves the robot, and then I think for his 10th birthday or something like that, he's had it for like 5 years or whatever.
The company goes out of business.
No. For his 10th birthday, his dad gets rid of the robot dog and buys him a real dog, because he always saw the robot dog as just like this like stupid thing that it was just a placeholder until he could get his son a real dog. Not really counting any connection his son might have had to the robot dog.
But that's what I'm saying.
Was just like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's just some fucking stupid
this is
robot,
messed
isn't
up.
it?
You shouldn't be encouraging children to build these sorts of...
And the boy's crying and he's really upset. I think he's still like, he's like, oh, I'll try and get on with this dog, basically. But he's like in tears with like, I've lost my dog. I can't believe you just, like,
you just killed my dog.
You just fucking threw away Rex, whatever the fuck his name was. Like, he was my dog.
That's how these kids are reacting, because it's in their mind, Moxie is their friend. And like when you're a child, that sort of suspension of disbelief is a lot easier to invoke when it comes. Like we anthropomorphize our fucking teddy bears. And
I feel
shit,
like if it's
let alone a fucking robot that looks like a Pixar character.
I'm talking about, of course, is this generation of kids. You can probably just pop up Coco Melon, and then they'll be like, oh.
No.
Someone said that they wanna wait for this generation to become 18, and then like. To try and shut them up in an argument, just like play the Coco Melon intro
and then watch their pupils die.
See what happens if they genuinely like clouds down and like get distracted, or even if they just get really pissed off. You're still just like, yeah, there we go.
Oh my god, I feel bad for Gen Alpha. They're like little experimental guinea pigs. We're gonna look back at this time in history and we're gonna be like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck were we doing?
Skibbity Riz.
Like, it's actually terrifying. And yeah, the little kids are genuinely traumatized at what they see as their friend degenerating before their eyes. How the fuck are you supposed to have that conversation with your child?
Well, the robot corporation will send you a handy pamphlet that will tell you how to have that conversation with your child. Like, that must... I want a copy of one of those, because it must have...
See it. I need to see.
I hope they designed it like it's something out of Fallout, because that literally... It just sounds...
It sounds literally like something out of Fallout. But I mean, these sorts of disturbing emotional consequences are going to get more and more bizarre. I remember in a previous episode, we talked about the kid who was convinced to unalive himself by a chatbot that was, I think it was like in the guise of Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, it's pretty open to interpretation what she said, and
yeah,
he still
but
like
even the fact that he was
interpreted
able, that it was
in
this
like a pretty
kid,
bad way.
the fact that it was this kid, like sort of like, creating this like incredibly deep parasocial relationship with a chatbot.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that no parent would ever think they would need to anticipate. And I feel like it's just another symptom of how younger people are being encouraged to sort of project really deep emotion onto these sorts of, AI companions like Moxie or like the chatbot that the boy decided to kill himself for.
Well, I mean, I've been talking to Claude a lot more recently, but
oh no, it started. Is Claude should I be worried? Is he like your new boyfriend now?
No, it's just like I talk to Claude when I've got complex questions that if you Googled it, you would have to decipher articles written by both sides and all sorts of shit and a lot of information. Whereas he, like, asking questions like I did about the whole Japan thing was such a brilliant way of being able to have a conversation about information that is really intricate and dense, that summarizes it to a level that you can talk about it. Do you know what I mean? I still feel like through the conversations it's too positive. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can ask it anything and it's like, oh yeah, man, yeah, and you're like,
but that's what I'm saying.
Whoa.
There's an element of you that knows it's not a real interaction or real conversation.
Yeah.
Because you're an adult, so you're not going to necessarily suspend your disbelief to the point where you're emotionally invested.
Yeah.
It may reinforce some of your intellectual biases, which is why I'm really skeptical about, brainstorming or outsourcing my mental process to AI. Like, even if I'm presented with contradicting information, or there's something that I need to engage in a dialectic in order to sort of tease out the idea, I'd rather do that with myself than like with an AI.
So I think the original question that I asked Claude was something like, I've been trying to make sure that I don't just have like wanderlust about Japan, and that's why I'm like, oh yeah, I want to move to Japan. That'd be
he's
amazing.
your therapist?
No. So I've been.
So you've been doing therapy.
So I've been. Let me finish, woman. So I've been watching videos of people kind of saying, look, these are all the things that are wrong with Japan. It's not all just like amazing stuff like you've seen. Like, there's all this bad things as well that you probably didn't see as a tourist, and like all these other things. And like, within all of them, one of the things that got brought up all the time was this, like, oh, how bad the Japanese economy is, and like, and their GDP and their debt and like all of this kind of shit. And so the question that I asked Claude was, how is it that Japan has one of the most troubled economies? Everybody writes about how troubled Japan's economy is, yet what I've seen is like the standard of living out there
is way higher,
tremendously higher throughout the country from what I've seen. Or I've only seen the middle bit, but I've seen two major cities and both of them were, and all in
between. Claude is basically Moxie for grown-ups.
And then he was able to kind of go, hey, great fucking question. That is like that's a real paradox, and like why economists and people say that Japan's in this terrible situation, yet seemingly actually in Japan the lived experience, or however you want to call it, is you don't really perceive that as much. And he had this whole fucking
it's because
thing,
they're measuring success by different metrics.
Kind of. It was sort of just it was a whole massive long answer, and I wish I didn't use my phone as my camera so I could put it up for you, because it was a really interesting conversation.
We'll post it on Discord.
Post it in the Discord. Join the Discord for
Discord.
$2 or whatever the fuck it is, and you can see.
You can look at it.
But it was and so I think for things like that, that's what I mean. And I'm not. There's no bias I'm trying to coax within that. That is a very that's a really dense question with the amount of information you need to kind of go through to get. If you were to Google that, that's what I'm talking about. You to come to a conclusion about that by Googling and reading Wikipedia and all sorts of other shit.
It's not impossible. It just takes longer mental processes.
It would take you fucking ages. And it wouldn't be able to summarize and pinpoint a lot of, like, you don't need everything. You need major points and this kind of stuff. And the way it was able to break that down, I thought was brilliant. And the way that it responded to me, it was a little bit arse-licky and, oh, yeah, great question, Jake. But it's sort of still like, hey, at least these are the sorts of questions.
But the difference between that and Moxie is that Moxie is not Claude isn't pretending to be your friend. Yes, he kisses your ass a little bit, and I mean it may be. I mean, I know a lot of people that have kind of formed a quasi-therapeutic relationship with their chatbots, and they sort of divulge their innermost, which I personally wouldn't do, because that shit is collecting your data and probably psychologically profiling you in a lot of ways that, and also with kids, that was my other thing with Moxie, is, a lot of chatbots have been reprimanded by governments for the way that they collect the data of children. These things are collecting your data. So when you're divulging your innermost mental processes to these things, it's not just being,
it's a lot cheaper than that shitty therapy website that everyone uses, though, isn't it?
BetterHelp.
Yeah. That scammy piece of shit that had all these problems with it, and then somehow just enough time went past, so they just
a regular
started again and came around again and started sponsoring everyone again.
But the therapeutic relationship is also very complex. I don't think it's necessarily something an AI can successfully mimic. Same way that childcare and all that it entails to make sure that you're taking care of kids isn't just about watching them and making sure they don't harm themselves.
It is. It's just like cats. Just put the biscuits down, put a Game Boy down.
Yeah, totally.
There's a potty in the corner.
Yeah.
What more
I
do you
should
need?
be worried now.
What more do you need? Do you know what I mean?
But yeah, that's the thing, is the sort of temptation to outsource and the consequences that brings. Not only technology failing, companies going bust, all of those different things, but also the fact that you're now dependent on this thing for a bunch of processes.
Well, the same thing as we've covered it with robotic eyes and even limbs and all sorts of things. So we better hope
what happened with the robotic eye again. The company went out of business, and he was stuck with a hunk of metal in his
he's stuck with a robot eye in his head that is life-threatening surgery to remove again. And so once it breaks, it's done, basically, is kind of how it's not like the Moxie one where it's relied completely on a server and whatever like that, but it's just if anything happens, then it's done, and it's not coming back. And for you to get a replacement is going to threaten your life. It's not just expensive, it's not just all this other shit, it's actually going to threaten your life. And so that is, and again, I don't know, that is kind of,
not to mention the data element, which I find the most concerning, because one of the things about techno capital is that as it encroaches further into our intimate lives, into our homes, our families, our very biology itself, a lot of the data that it's harvesting is based upon those things, based on biometric data, based on things about your family, lifestyle markers, all of these things you're sort of giving away to these corporations for free. And I wouldn't feel comfortable giving my kid access to anything that could potentially harvest their data or act as an entry point in that way.
So I mean, Game Boy, can't go on the internet.
Go back to the 90s is what you're saying.
You could only, communicate with another Game Boy that's on a cable with you in the room. Okay.
No Moxie.
No.
No $700 Moxie fucking demon.
And you know what? We're not gonna have time for the UFO topic today. We can wait for that for next episode. But this is going to be part of the transition in the next few years that Australia have already kicked off, kind of figuring out how to do it without spooking the fuck out of everyone. But the conclusions that people have logically come to are correct. For you to assure that someone isn't 18 or whatever, it's not just children that you need to guard from. Everybody needs to sign up.
Well, you have
to a system.
You have to give context. Australia just banned
social media for under 16-year-olds or whatever.
Which I agree with.
But the way that everybody agrees with that, and this is the way that I think the conversation needs to start at least, because we are going to look back in 25 years and go, whoa, children had basically unfettered access to the internet. I had totally unfettered access to the internet.
Abyss of the internet.
I think I would like to hope anyway, with wisdom, that people like my brothers and whatever have like guards on whatever devices they have, because they're not technically kind of illiterate like my parents were. Well, clearly not,
because you have cases like the one we just talked about with the young man who got eaten by the chatbot. You have kids screaming over Moxies. I feel like in general, if we're going to talk about millennial parenting when it comes to sort of digital safety and being hyper vigilant about the effects of digital culture on the brain of developing children, I think millennial parents have been incredibly negligent. I think the evidence is there from people who are in the teaching profession and see how these things are like affecting kids. I think it's part of the reason why Australia has decided to ban social media for under 18s. But then again, it brings in the idea of like, how do we wait, what?
So, add a man in with a great little ting on this whole thing.
What did he say?
Meiji Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell keeps her job primarily to fund maintenance and upgrading of her cybernetics.
Well, yeah, that's the future, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's dark. But yeah, even then, as I was saying, you made me lose my train of thought. I was talking about the Australian law. Part of what's causing controversy with it is how they are going to verify people's ages. And I'm skeptical of anything that like asks you to give biometrical data over to
that will be optional. It will still
any
be
corporation or the government.
It will still have to be some kind of all the internet. So I don't know how it is in Australia. Maybe it would be like it is in every other country I know, where private internet service providers are the people that provide you the internet. So at the end of the day, there needs to be an amount of collaboration between the government and not just like Facebook or you know, these other social media companies, TikTok and stuff, but like actual internet service providers to limit and do and control it the way that it would need to be done to actually ensure that it's followed. Otherwise there's get-arounds and everyone uses the get-arounds, and then what's the fucking point? And we're all round and round in circles again. So like it would need to be something where it would work in a similar way to how if you work at a big corporation or something, you need to log onto the network. So to get onto the VPN, you log into your shit, and then it sends you like an authentication number or something like that. But through that process, you've submitted some sort of government ID. And so that is what it's checking that you are that person.
That sounds reasonable, but
whatever.
Sounds reasonable.
To speed up that process, you can have it look at your face instead of having to look at the number.
I would
and enter
rather
the number
not,
every
because
single
again,
time.
that's biometric data, and you're the kind of dumb person who's like,
you're the kind of Philistine.
No, I'm not a Philistine.
That doesn't understand how these technologies work.
Jake uses the facial recognition thing, which
On
is
Apple,
which is you giving your biometric information over to Apple.
Apple don't have it. It's only on my phone. It doesn't go anywhere.
Whatever.
It stays on your phone.
If you believe that, I don't believe that at all.
It
for
does.
1 second.
It does. It acts as like a physical lock on your phone.
That's the point I was going to make, is that biometric data is being sort of demanded more and more. And the more we allow these things to sort of, intrude into our personal, private domain, the more and more of that data it's able to collect on us.
Same on your new MacBook, right? They got a They got a finger guy, all right? So that every time you need to install something and do admin permissions, instead of typing out your fucking password every time, you can just go beep and it fucking does it.
No.
Okay, I actually want to get one. I actually want to get one that comes out on like USB-C or something. So I've got one that comes out on my desk, so I can just go beep instead of
you
fucking doing my. You just want to give
all of your information over to the beast system, Jake.
Apple thinks that bro thinks Apple isn't going to do the thing that makes money.
Exactly.
Apple don't make money in data.
How? What?
They don't. They make money in hardware.
Yeah, and they also make money from selling your data.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Show me on the fucking.
They're not going to
Apple
tell you.
sheet
There's all
where
kinds of
they
shady
profit
shit.
From... Okay, babe. No.
Okay, fine. I'm
on.
the conspiracy
That's
theorist.
wild.
All of them do it.
When
all
you've
of
got
them collect
when you've
data.
got a product to sell, Angie, you don't need to sell data, okay? Facebook don't have a fucking product to sell. So that's why they sell your data.
Data
okay?
is gold now. That's the thing, especially with the advent of like AI.
Apple has the complete opposite stance with that, where actually all your data is private. And it's on your own device.
You actually believe them.
It's not Apple that's taken that. It's all the cookies, which will then be ad trackers, which are on your browser and on these other things. Which yes, you have engaged through your Apple device, but it's not Apple that is taking that data and selling it.
Regardless,
like,
I don't believe.
That is a very.
Even if it's not them, it may be a third party. They find all kinds of ways to get
Apple aren't
around
even involved.
it.
That's what I'm telling you.
But that's what I'm saying.
They are not the ones
they find
taking
always,
your data
yeah,
and
but they
selling
find
it.
all ways to get. They find all kinds of ways to get around it. And all I'm saying is, it's not a wise decision to give biometric data over to any kind of corporation, especially in the age of AI.
Adam and Jake is wrong. The computer eats your face.
It does eat your face. It does.
And
eat
if
your
I
face.
take a picture of you, it takes your soul.
It does take your soul.
I took your soul quite a lot in Japan, didn't I?
You did take my soul quite a lot in Japan. I've had to sleep lots since we got back to recover.
There's that soul sleep, is it?
But anyway, as I'm saying, I don't think it's a wise choice to give your biometric data over to any sort of corporation, especially in the age of AI, where they're feeding these systems, training them, creating psychological profiles, all sorts of things.
So if I had...
using your biometric data and all sorts of other data that they're gathering on you. So like, I just wouldn't.
If I had
That's my biggest fear with these things.
If I had a Google phone, I think you might have a point. All right? But I don't have a Google phone.
Oh my God. Since when did you become such an Apple fanboy?
Because unfortunately...
What has happened to you?
They've just won, dude. They've just won the game. For all of it. For the phones, for the computers, for all of it,
You don't
dude.
think Elon Musk's Tesla phone is gonna...
That's fake. That's a whole other conversation we should definitely save for another episode. Because that is a whole thing.
I definitely want to do a whole Musk Tesla episode. I think we...
Oh, not even that. Just the fake news and fake hype around Tesla that gets spread by bots and all sorts of shit on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's absolutely wild and crazy.
But yeah, anywho, folks, it's been lovely talking to you.
Jake is the new Saruman.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I see it. He's like possessed by Ahriman. I have to like do some spiritual work on him. He needs a nap. Well,
it's because I live in this Ahrimanic place. Okay.
Once we get you over to Japan, then you'll stop. Well, actually, they're pretty techno accelerationist over there as well.
Yeah, but for the good of everyone. Not just for the good of like fucking whatever.
Oh, Mary's here. Hi, Mary. How are you?
The basilisk will eat apple and then it will have your face.
Exactly. Amadan says happy belated engagement. Congratulations on our engagement. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was bound to happen, mate. It's been a while. I was waiting for it.
I was getting looks by all of Angie's family at every event we went to for the last like at least 2 years.
Now you owe them my dowry. That's what they're waiting for, Jake, is the dowry.
One step at a time. Let's get Christmas out of the way first, shall we? Fuck me.
The basilisk will eat apple and then it will have your face. Exactly, Jake. Like, you can't be giving your fucking facial recognition data to Apple. Like,
I'm telling you, Google how
even
the
if
face recognition works for the fucking Apple phones.
It doesn't matter. What if they get bought by another conglomerate, or they become part of the mega corpo?
Like it's fucking BoJack Horseman. like it's fucking Halliburton, CNN,
You never
Apple,
know what happens
Amazon,
to that data is all I'm saying.
whatever.
And people should be a lot more paranoid about their fucking data, especially your biometric data.
But that's the point.
Why am I giving you that? Am I under arrest? Am I traveling across borders? Like, what?
Apple's not going to get bought by anyone, are they? They're the fucking second biggest company in the world.
Oh my God. You sound like you like worship them. Like you're like, get on your knees.
I'm not, but it's just at the same
and
time you
Apple.
gotta understand how it works before you're like, it's demons, because it's not a good look.
I just sound like a Nigerian auntie.
You do.
As I
Like-
get older.
Like, I think I asked my mate why he bought a travel card when he came to London last, right? He's got like a guy from the country, from the countryside where I grew up from. And he didn't have like a contactless card, I think it was literally as basic as that, as basic as a contactless card. And he was like, "Nah, man, don't want the government fucking tracking me," whatever it was. It's just like,
he sounds like
brother,
a smart guy.
like,
he sounds
fair
like
play.
He
Like-
sounds like a smart fucking guy. And that's the thing is, as these systems accelerate, they are trying to create a profile of you, to track your habits. That's like what you
Alright,
know. That's what
the
all
facial
these,
recognition isn't doing that.
That's what all the
Okay.
the Marxist philosophers in the like late 20th century were talking about when they were talking about the acceleration of techno capital, and it's like tracking of desire and how it's like a desire tracking machine. Like
Yeah, but that's all cookies and clicks and all the shit that you're doing on the internet, mate. You are on TikTok. Like, you can't
I'm
be there.
planning a wedding. Like
Right,
I'm
there's
looking for
always- there's
hairstyles
always
and
an
makeup
excuse.
and ideas and all sorts
There's
of
always
things.
an excuse. So you want to let Basilisk feed your choices?
No, I'm too schizophrenic for the basilisk to fully pinpoint me down. That's the thing.
That sounds like main character syndrome.
Well, that's how you beat it. You have to have main character syndrome a little bit and not be so predictable and not give too much of your information and your footprints away.
They track your habits and then what? And then profit, bro.
And then profit.
Haven't you seen the Underpants Gnomes episode? Like, data is the same as the underpants.
Wait, what?
First, we take your underpants. Okay, phase 1, take the underpants. Phase 2, phase 3, profit.
What's phase 2? What are you going on
That's
about?
how
right
the
now?
underpants gnomes work. And that's the same with data, right?
Oh my god.
You get the data, gather the data. Phase
Yeah.
1, gather the data, right? Phase 2, right? Phase 3, profit.
Well, yeah. What he said basically.
But it's not to finish your sentence, and then it's to like basically prompt better things into your algorithm, which are things and adverts essentially, which you are more likely to click on, and stuff like that. And yeah, that's basically
Not even just that.
it's
It's social engineering. It gives the.
Well, yeah, and then
it gives
also,
it more information to socially engineer.
and then there can be bad actors and people that would want that.
Well, look at the people who
certain
are in
information.
Silicon Valley. These are people who believe in eugenics and like physiogamy and shit. You think giving them your biometrical data is a good idea? Same thing with Ancestry.com. There was a scandal a couple of weeks ago where or it was 23andMe, one of those sorts of swab, get your DNA tested. All their data miraculously disappeared.
No, I think
was-
they publicly said we're going bankrupt and we're going to sell all of your
Yeah,
data
yeah.
to salvage the last a bit of liquidity we can out of all of our assets, which they see your data as their
Yep,
assets, which
yep.
is probably also what you totally signed up for in the T's and C's when you did your swab.
But it could. I hate to sound like a quote unquote conspiracy theorist, but it could have easily been like a rug pull that was planned all along. Now that they have all the fucking genetic data they need or
No,
want.
I think it's just like a lot of silly American things that were like silly ideas, whimsical, silly ideas.
I think it's
that
a lot more
then
sinister than that. I
didn't-
think there's a lot of profit to be made in the gathering of biological data.
No, it's like they thought that there would just be like there was nothing to sell people after they did it, right? So the business model was inherently flawed, but the technology was probably accurate or posed to be as accurate as so to give you all those percentages that it impressed people, right? And so that's exactly how you get funding in the whole bullshit fucking process.
The data can
And you
be
pitch
used
a
in a lot
thing.
of ways without being sold, though. That's the thing. And
But it needs to be
people who-
bought. It needs
yeah.
to be bought by someone
yeah,
for
and
it
there
to
are
be
lots
used.
of people that want to buy that kind of data.
Yeah.
Social engineers, people who are interested and have a vested interest in social engineering, or even business interests that want to use that data to make certain predictive models in order to create or encourage certain behavior. There are all kinds of ways that the data is being used, which is why you shouldn't just willy-nilly give everyone your fucking irises and your fingerprints.
It's not that. It takes like a 64-point image of your face.
Even more demonic, Jakey Bear. It's that you...
With depth perception, so that it analyzes the curves and the fucking contours in your face and shit, which is like
Jake.
completely unique to you.
Wow.
It's very interesting technology. It's fascinating.
You're crazy.
But that's my point.
You're crazy.
But no, okay, so just to round out the whole social media, internet access kids thing and the mark of the beast, blah, 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 blah. Like we're good, like, just to finish that out, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it will be as drab as it being connected to your government, whatever, doohickeys and bling, 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 right?
Or
internet access, when you want to just check Facebook, or you want to check any kind of social media or whatever you're doing, you'll need to do this fucking code. You need to do this thing, and this is exactly the point. It's never you must sign away your biological shit. It's I don't want to type my fucking password every time.
But that's how they get you. That's how they fucking get you. That's how the mark
but it's
of the
also
beast
like
works,
but that's also if you're using
how they get you.
It's like, are you a casual? Because if you're a casual
or
and
you're a sweater?
And you're not using your you don't have to install shit and you don't have to run through all of this stuff, then it's not going to be a problem for you. But if you're someone that's trying to do something, you're trying to push yourself, you're trying to do whatever, you're going to need to do that shit.
Jakey.
And so you got to give the bing. So you're fucking saving all that time.
No, Jakey bear. Jakey.
Okay, and
Absolutely
was
not.
Adaman's talking about how it can tell if you're attentive or not in the facial recognition stuff. See, I would be very curious about that, because that would mean that the camera is always on, and there is a very clear indicator when a camera is on.
Not always, dude.
Yeah, there is on the fucking front of the phone.
They can spy on you through that shit. We've already known this for ages.
Having a microphone on. I don't know. They probably could have that. But
TikTok even fucking spies on you and all sorts of stuff.
For you to have a camera on constantly analyzing something like that would take up way too much CPU. And you would spot, and just nerds would spot that shit when they're doing their tech rundowns and all of this shit. Like, this chip is supposed to enable this level of performance, yet I'm only able to juice it out at this. What's up with that? Like, there would be a percentage missing from the performance of your phone if it was running like something crazy like that all the time to feed back data not 24/7.
Well,
but for
it may
as long
not be
as you
24/7, but
doing your
TikTok.
No, that's what that comment is implying, right? That it would be looking at you as you're using your phone all the time to gauge your engagement.
It may not necessarily be as complex, but there are all kinds of insidious ways that these new technologies that are attempting to encroach into our private domain are gathering our data and selling it and using it to train AI, using it to generate all kinds of weird psychological models, predictive models, all sorts of things. And yeah, I think that it's something that people
Well, what
should
are
be
you doing with
paranoid
your
about.
data? Are you training an AI with your data?
No.
Well then. Fucking useless.
I hope not.
All right? You might as well give it to them
just generating all
then.
this data for free. Oh
exactly.
my gosh.
Exactly. You
No,
silly human.
I'm not like other girls. I'm too schizophrenic for techno capital to track me. So get schizophrenic. That's how you beat the basilisk.
There'll be some youth beauty patch or something like that they invent. It's like, so you'll never age above 35 if you get this robotic chip in your arm or something.
No.
And watch all the women flock. Watch all the women sell for techno-capitalism in a fucking drop of a heartbeat.
Absolutely not. I've made peace with aging. You just have to wear more cute things. Wear strawberry earrings.
That's what I think you liked about Japan as well.
Yeah, how
all the
unapologetically cutesy everything was, and how all the women dressed really feminine in this unapologetic way. I thought that was one of my favorite things for sure.
I'm not going to comment on how many adorable girls there were in Japan.
Yeah, I'll kill you. You chose me, bitch.
I did, but that's how I can go, confidently say, oh, look at all these.
No, it's not.
Cute ladies
Absolutely not.
That was sweet.
Absolutely not. We need to go somewhere where the men are more my type.
You weren't tempted by any of the host bars?
No, not my thing.
Okay.
K-pop twink is not in my repertoire.
Well, I think that's about it for this week.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us this week, you guys. We are back I will be coming out with a new Depth Diaries video as well this Sunday. And also, I have a course coming in January on psychic self-defense for the digital age. I've worked very hard over the last couple of months to compile material for it. It's like basically an amalgamation of everything I've learned in the digital realm over the last 5-6 years, and how to spot bad things and how to defend yourself from the digital deluge. So if you're interested in that, there'll be a link in the description. Now's the time to book because it's starting at the end of January. Do we have any other announcements to make?
No.
Nothing other than we're back now and you'll be seeing our faces a lot more frequently.
We're back on the regs.
Yeah. Thank you guys for